At just 22 years old, she would become one of the youngest people executed for war crimes in modern history. Some stories exist to remind us that the world is not always beautiful. Some exist to warn us what human beings are capable of becoming. This is one of those stories. Join me as we descend into the depths of a lost society. Irma Grese was born on October 7, 1923, in Mecklenburg, Germany. Her story is filled with horror, not because of where she started, but because where she ended. Her life stands as a reminder that evil doesn't always arrive looking like a monster. Sometimes it grows quietly in ordinary places. Irma was the third of five children, raised in the small village of Rechen in rural northern Germany. Her family was more well off than many in the surrounding area, and her early life was mostly normal. That changed when Irma was just 12 years old. Her mother discovered her father was having an affair with the local bar owner's daughter. The betrayal shattered her. In despair, Irma's mother attempted to take her own life using hydrochloric acid, commonly used in cleaning metals in industrial processing. Even brief exposures can cause severe internal and external burns. It's not a substance meant for the human body in any capacity. Though she initially survived, the damage was irreversible. She died just a week later in the hospital. In my opinion, this is one of the worst ways to go. Just inhaling the gas alone causes immediate respiratory tract irritation, chest tightness, choking, coughing. So imagine drinking it. Within seconds, you'd begin to feel severe pain in the mouth, throat, chest, and abdomen, followed by drooling, vomiting, difficulty swallowing, causing severe tissue death of the esophagus and stomach. In other words, it's like melting your insides out. After her mother's death, people noticed a change in Irma. She became withdrawn, emotionally distant. At school, she was bullied. And as history shown us, early trauma and neglect can sometimes twist into something darker later on in life. As a teenager, Irma and her sister joined the League of German Girls, the female branch of the Hitler's Youth. It was designed to indoctrinate young girls into Nazi ideology, teaching obedience, nationalism, and loyalty to the regime. Members were trained to see themselves not as individuals, but as tools of the state, future wives and mothers of the Third Reich. This decision went directly against her father's wishes, creating a deep rift between them. Their relationship remained strained as her father later remarried and even joined the German army, despite holding some anti-Nazi beliefs. Whether his decision was driven by survival, fear, or free will, we'll never truly know. In the 1930s, Germany was a nation in crisis. The country was still reeling from a defeat in World War I, crushed by economic collapse, mass unemployment, and deep national humiliation. Many families were struggling just to survive. Trust in traditional institutions was breaking down. In times like these, people don't just look for solutions, they look for someone to blame and someone to follow. The Nazi regime understood something powerful. If you shape the minds of the young, you shape the future of the nation. At just 17 years old, Irma began training as a concentration camp guard. She was eventually promoted to supervisor and transferred to Auschwitz in 1943. One of her duties was to decide who would live and who would get sent to the gas chamber. Witnesses later stated that Irma would select women she considered more attractive than herself to be sent to their deaths. She was known to randomly shoot prisoners and laugh while doing so. Survivors accused her of brutal beatings, sexual violence, and murder. Her cruelty earned her the nickname the Beautiful Beast and the Hyena of Auschwitz. But let's be real, there was nothing beautiful about her. While whips were common tools of punishment amongst SS guards, Irma went further. She carried a special riding crop similar to those used on horses. She was the only guard in the facility known to use this specific weapon. A small detail, but one that speaks volume about how far she was willing to go to cause pain. Conditions at Auschwitz was terrible for prisoners. About 30,000 women occupied 62 cells. With no clean water, it was not uncommon for a disease to spread. And if you happen to be one of the unlucky ones who got sick, you might find your life in the hands of a sadistic doctor who runs medical experiments on live patients. I think it's important to note that it was not a custom for a female guard to kill prisoners, or even beat them. But not for Irma. She was warned many times to stop the beatings, but she persisted. Most female guards didn't even carry a weapon. Direct killing was viewed as a masculine role. It was also forbidden to have any sexual relations with prisoners, but she did so anyways. She even sent former lovers to the gas chambers in order to silence them. Like many others around her, she became intoxicated by power. The feeling she had when she put on that uniform gave her a sense of belonging. In a world where women were taught to suppress their emotions, she didn't just adapt, she thrived, becoming the embodiment of what it means to cross a point of no return. Bergen-Belsen was liberated by British troops on April 15, 1945, revealing scenes of unimaginable horror. Irma Grese was captured 2 days later. She stood trial alongside camp commander Joseph Kramer and dozens of others before a British military court. The trial lasted over 9 weeks. Throughout it all, Irma remained defiant, unapologetic. In November of 1945, she was convicted and sentenced to death. On December 13, 1945, at just 22 years old, Irma Grese was led to the gallows. Her final words were reported as "Schnell," quickly. One last attempt at control, even at the very end. In my opinion, Irma Grese died long before she ever reached the gallows, because not everyone who is alive is truly living. By the time her life ended, she was an empty vessel, filled with rage, cruelty, and darkness. The suffering she caused was not just violence, it was torture. Stories like this are uncomfortable, but they matter, because forgetting the past is how we allow it to repeat itself. And somewhere in the shadows of history, the echoes of this lost society still remain.